This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Stop putting your online data at risk. Get protected at expressvpn.com/rooster. Hey guys, Barbara here. You're about to watch an incredible season finale of Always Open, season 10. We've been doing this for 10 seasons, if you could believe it. Since September of 2016. Always Open has been hard. It has been incredible. It has been humbling. And an honor of a lifetime to be able to work on the show. And both Meryl and I and everyone who works on the show, thank you for your support and your dedication to it over the last 10 seasons. We would not have been able to make it without you. And to know that we've had any effect on anyone's life is all we could ask for. But like a lot of things, a lot of shows, a lot of productions, we have to recognize when it's maybe time to say goodbye. And both Meryl and I have discussed it and feel like over time we've said what we wanted to say, we've addressed things that we wanted to address, and we're ready to move on to the next creative project. And that doesn't mean necessarily that Always Open is going away or that it's never going to come back, but for the time being, it is going on hiatus. If you still need your dose of Always Open, we are doing Just the Boys, which is just the box of issues questions. We're reading those and answering your questions every Friday on RTTV at 11:30 a.m. Central, so you could come and join us for that. But for the time being, it is going on hiatus, and hopefully we'll have more information in the future. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything, your support, for sharing the show with other people, for watching it, for commenting, for sending in your questions. It wouldn't have been what it is without you guys. So from the bottom of my heart and everyone who's worked on the show, thank you. And I hope you guys enjoy this season 10 finale. Of course, I'm going to mess it up right at the end. We love you guys. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Always Open. It's the last episode of the season, so thank you for sticking with us for this whole time while we've been doing this from quarantine. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and joining me today is the lovely Mariel Salcedo.
What's up? I can't believe it has been... Holy shit. We've done almost every I've done every episode for this season from my house, which is insane because I feel like I was sitting and it was March and I blinked and now it's almost June. So
it's crazy.
Whoa.
Time is flying by. And in addition to the lovely Meryl Salcedo, we have the gorgeous Gavin.
Even lovelier.
Free.
Why did you say like it was a question mark?
Because I was trying to think of a G word to go along with Gavin.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And that was the first one I could think of. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's up for the audience to determine. And last but certainly not least, special guest who we've been trying to get on the show for so long, and as we were discussing right before it started, it only took a global pandemic to make it happen. We have the fabulous, ravishing Raoul Coley joining us today.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To those of us who've just waken up, cough, cough, Raoul.
I'm on a different time zone.
You are. It's true. You're on the West Coast.
It's still noon. But in quarantine, it might as well be like 7 a.m.
I agree.
Right. Wow.
I know that I've had so much trouble waking up early during this whole time. I guess it's because I can't go to sleep at a normal time, like a normal human time. Gavin, you were just talking about how, was it last night you made a cup of coffee at 11 p.m.?
Yeah, it was earlier this week. I sort of just lost track of what day and time it was, and I was editing, and then after I drank it, I was like, it's almost midnight. Why did I do that?
But do you do tea at night time?
Oh.
Or can you not do caffeine at all?
I can get away with having a tea, like a proper caffeinated tea, but Meg always has the sleepy time tea, so I've just been making that as well for ease. But, you know, I grew up in England, so I feel like you can have a 9 p.m. real tea and still.
I
get
take
sleep.
one to bed.
Yeah,
I'll take
nice,
a cup of tea to bed with like I did the other night. I was watching the Epstein documentary, and I just destroyed a pack of Jaffa cakes in bed like at 4 a.m. and fell asleep.
It's comforting to have a tea in the. It's something that I've never been able to rub off on any American that I've lived with, which has been one of them. But
Any of them.
It's
All
been
one.
like 4 hours since we've had a tea, and I'll be like, "Oh, fancy a cuppa?" And she'll be like, "Well, we already had a tea this week." It's like, no, we need to have several per day.
And what they don't realize is that you've actually cut back because you're not at home because it's 1 an hour. It's regimented.
Yeah.
It's just constant.
Yeah, there'll be times in England where I'd be like, someone would offer me a tea, and I would just neck the bottom of my last tea, just
just to have the next one. Absolutely.
So it's
What's
just
in
constant.
sleepy time tea to make it sleepy time?
some, I don't know, herbal, caffeineless something. It's not as good.
Herbal. Sorry, I already know, having 2 Brits on the show, I'm going to unintentionally copy your accent. Isn't that like a form of flattery when you're around somebody and you pick up little pieces of their mannerisms and things like that? Isn't that some form of flattery?
Well, imitation, yeah,
Probably
it's the best
depends.
form of flattery, right?
It
That's what they say.
depends. It depends.
Oh, it depends.
Yeah, I think if it's like, oh, I like your accent, that sounds nice. But if you're like, oh, hey, mate, oh,
Like what I usually do to Gavin.
Yeah, that's a daily basis, but yeah.
Well, maybe if you didn't do that so often, I wouldn't imitate you all the time. But yeah, Raoul, we're so happy to finally get you on the show. How you been holding up with all of this going on?
I've been like, I'm like really good, which is check your privilege time. Like,
Yeah.
So it's I'm fortunate to just be able to just stay inside and paint model kits. So the COVID-19 thing for me was very much just staying indoors, keeping. I'm also, because of the way like shows work, I'm used to kind of being off season, like, but we would have hiatuses where from almost March until August you're between seasons. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's been fine, but obviously that's not the case for a lot of people. But it's just been an opportunity to like consume disgusting amounts of media of all forms. Yeah, so that's been cool to kind of catch up on some shows and stuff.
Yeah. And how's the situation over in Los Angeles? Because I assume that's where you are.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I don't know, because I went super Walking Dead with this. I at no point challenged anything. I didn't try to do anything normal and have a look and risk a drive. Like, I don't think I've left this apartment bar once or twice, maybe to go to the shops real quick for something I couldn't get online. So, but I know that Los Angeles is effectively open now to a certain degree, provided you wear masks and practice social distancing.
Things also, like,
yeah.
this episode will come out, I believe, June 8th and 9th on YouTube.
Oh.
So it's going to be interesting, even compared to what we're talking about now, to where we are in, like, a
For
week and
sure.
a half from now.
Yeah, well, like one of the things that's come, I think by the time this airs, Gavin knows our sports will be back. They're doing that
Yeah.
now.
Really?
Yeah, that's probably a week from when this airs. They're going to be playing sports with no crowds.
It's gonna
like
be
they
so
are with
weird.
football. I know, right? They were like, apparently Germany have been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and at one game they had cardboard cutouts to fill the stands. And recently they were playing audio of just crowd noises to the players. Yeah, so it's all experimental right now.
Did they have a guy like on sliders for like cheering and booing? Maybe just like one sample of the referee's a wanker to start playing out?
They
I
just have,
like
like,
the
a
idea of
DJ
it being
there.
like a Home Alone, like Macaulay Culkin. They have like someone just like a Michael Jordan on a train track, cardboard cutout and stuff. But yeah,
I
so it's
feel
gonna-
like, as a Liverpool fan, the last season must have been very interesting.
the last 30 years have been interesting. And then yeah, it's of course it was like, it was hard. Look, like let's be honest, like we all know just how, dangerous that's been and how heartbreaking it's been for a lot of families and the economy and stuff. But also, it's hard because you want to wrestle with the things that you prioritize. So it was, I'm super scared about, say, my father, who suffers from COPD and lives in London, and my brother-in-law is a doctor and he was working on the front line. So you have those fears, but at the same time, I was also pissed off that we were stopped 2 games before we were going to win the league. Almost to the same degree.
And it was an amazing season because there was absolutely no doubt that Liverpool were going to win.
6 points. Or just, even 3 if Man City dropped their next game. So it felt funny. Like, for anyone who doesn't know, our team for Liverpool haven't won the league in 30 years. We've come close. Last year, we lost out by 1 point, which is almost unheard of.
Oh, my God.
And we finally... We battered everyone so hard. We're 25 points clear, which is the biggest lead a team has ever had at that point in the season. And then COVID came along.
Who's the big rivalry to Liverpool?
Overall, it will always be Manchester United. But
do you think Manchester United developed COVID-19 in an effort? Conspiracy theory.
I wouldn't be surprised. It feels like we're cursed a little bit, but yeah, currently our Manchester City would be our rivals. I know, Gavin, you're Tottenham?
I am a Tottenham fan, yep.
Ooh.
Should we end the show now? Is this going to be an issue?
Should we cut all this bits out?
I will say there's something very exciting about going to a football match. When I was traveling in the fall, and I went to a Barcelona match, and
oh, nice.
And it was like, I mean, I just happened to be in Barcelona, and there happened to be a match that night, and I was kind of like, should I go? I mean, I'm not like a huge soccer fan. My family's Mexican, so obviously they are. And I told my brother, and he was like, if you do not go, like, I will not forgive you. Like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, you can go see Messi play. You can go see I can't remember what his last name is, but I think we have the same last name. Anyway, but and it was just like I was completely alone. And again, not as a football fan, but it like lost my goddamn mind being there and just like feeling the energy of all these people who were just like losing their absolute minds over this, and it was really fucking cool.
The energy
it's
at
gonna
those
be
things
so different.
are insane.
It really is. I mean, if you think about, like, if you stood in a room full of 5 people shouting at you angrily, you could feel negative energy, right? That's what that feels like. When you walk into a pub that's got some issues, you can feel a room and that negative energy. When you go to a football game and there are 100,000 people positively cheering at something, it's like it has this like feeling. It's so, I don't know.
And it literally has a feeling sometimes. Like if there's like an absolute cracker last minute goal that wins you the game, it like vibrates the stadium with just screaming and people jumping up, and it's like I can feel this in my bones. It's incredible.
They're gonna have one person in the stands just going, "Woo!" just clapping quietly.
Yeah, do the players have to
so
like
different
social? I mean, how do the players handle it? Are they just
yeah, like
it's a bit of a mess because the Bundesliga, the only ones at the moment who'd opened during this lockdown, and I don't know how it worked, but you're not allowed to celebrate the goal. So the players couldn't go within 6 feet of each other if they scored, but then they would still tackle each other and be there next to each other and defend, but they couldn't shake hands. It's a fucking mess. Like, I don't know how they figured it out. I really wanted to watch a bit of it. I just haven't had a chance to see what
Guys,
it looked
it's
like.
cool if you just full on make out, but just don't touch each other's hands, okay? It's the one thing.
It's going to be
celebrating.
so against all of their human nature to not run and hug each other.
Yeah.
How are they doing it?
I have
They'll
no...
just be like, stood still, be like, nice. well done.
They're just standing across the field, just like...
You score like the 90th minute winner, and then and it's a wonder goal from 30 yards out, and then you have to touch elbows with someone. Like, you have to have the foresight to go, oh yeah, cool, thanks, nice one.
It's going to be weird watching like Premier League games potentially have the same atmosphere as like your local town's team, where you can like hear the sounds of like the ball hitting the net and stuff that you
Like
would
a
never
Little
hear
League
in a
game.
stadium. Poof.
Well, it's funny because we talked on the RT podcast. I think Gus is the one who brought this up. How there's a restaurant somewhere that are putting like cutouts of people in it to make it feel like the restaurant is more crowded to comfort people who are going there, and also to like space out seating at the tables.
Which sounds like the worst, because when I walk into an empty restaurant, it's like the best day of my life.
Oh, I know, right? Also, apparently, and he just told us this recently, like he told us that first, we're just like, okay, that's weird, whatever. And then he followed up by saying the fake people that are going to be there, I think it's mannequins actually that are going to be there. They're going to be dressed in like 40s and 50s attire. Which it's like another level of confusion that I don't really understand the reason for.
That just feels more unsettling than any empty restaurant. Like, just you and mannequins. Like,
Yeah, you just feel like you're having dinner on like a nuclear test site.
Exactly. Very weird times we're living in. This episode of Always Open is brought to you by MeUndies. The next time you walk to your mailbox, if you're lucky, you'll find an incredibly soft pair of MeUndies. You guys have heard me talk about MeUndies so many times by now, but I really cannot get enough of them. I think they are the only underwear I own. And I also can't stop wearing their pajama pants. I think I wear them all day, every day. They keep cool, so you're nice and comfortable, but they're also soft and cozy at the same time. They're wonderful. I can't get enough of them. So anyway, back to discovering those undies in your mailbox. We're going to tell you how to make that a reality every single month. MeUndies has this brilliant thing called an undies membership, where every month the softest undies ever appear at your door. The convenience factor is clutch. You never have to leave the house. Oh, and you also get site-wide savings, early access, and free shipping. So easy and very nice. MeUndies is made from micromodal, an irresistibly soft, sustainable fabric that encases your nether regions in cloud-like comfort. It's magically made from trees, another reason to give them a hug. MeUndies are offered in a range of sizes from extra small to 4XL. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/open. That's MeUndies.com/open, 15% off, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Cannot recommend them enough. So go enjoy your MeUndies and every other MeUndies product under the sun. Thank you, MeUndies. Now back to the show. But let's get things rolling on this episode. We're going to play Never Have I Ever. If you guys don't know how it works, it's actually a little differently on the show. What we do is I'll read a card. I have some cards from an actual Never Have I Ever board game that I purchased. And I'll read the card, and if you have done it, just raise your hand. And we'll then call you out on it.
Can I lie?
No.
You can. I mean, we wouldn't know. All right, let's get things started.
So hand goes up if I have done it.
If you have.
If you have done it, okay.
All right.
Have you ever faked a family member's death to get out of a commitment?
I mean,
Whoa.
Oh,
I tried to
happily.
get free sponsorship.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It was my first forum post on the Rooster Teeth website when I was 14.
14,
And I just
yeah.
I didn't have any money, and it cost like $20 to become a super sponsor of the site. So I was like, all my family has died. Can I get free sponsorship? Also, it's my birthday, and it didn't work.
Oh,
yeah, no
man.
shit.
That's awesome.
But that's getting free stuff, not getting out of something.
Yeah,
so,
never to get out of something.
Raoul, what did you do?
Oh, I've done it so many times. I don't know. I don't know about specific moments, but like I give so little a shit about stuff. So I know that like my grandmother, whenever a relative has died, I know I've absolutely had them die 6 different times afterwards, because I feel like that's the gift that my family member gave me. Like when my uncle died, they can now die 6 more times for different commitments. But I've done it in advance. It's usually, and it's probably also like, because I'm just a bit of an idiot, I probably don't even need to go that hard. Like, I'm not around tonight would probably suffice. I always seem to just go too hard.
Are you just afraid that, like, if you give some excuse, like, oh, I don't feel like it, or I have other plans, like, your friends or people close to you won't feel like that's enough of an excuse, so you have to kind of escalate it?
I feel like I always worry about disappointing people. So if you say no and it's not a good enough excuse, it sounds like I just don't want to do the thing you want me to do, and it's a reflection of what I think of you. Whereas someone dying probably means I think less of you. I lied about it, but yeah, I don't know. I used to do this thing. I don't know why this has just reminded me of it, but when I used to fuck up as a kid, this is so bad. Say me and my sister were fighting and I'm the one that instigated it, or I'm the one that got paint everywhere, and my mum would come in and my mum would say to me, "Did you do it?" And I'd say, "No, of course not, I didn't do it." My sister obviously saying I did, and my mum would look at me and she'd go, "Swear on my life right now, swear on my life that you didn't do this." And I'd look her in her fucking eyes.
Oh my god.
As a 7-year-old guy, I swear I didn't do this. Lying. And my sister immediately would just go, because she thought mum would just get struck by lightning.
Did you like keep a close eye on her for the rest of the week just to make sure that she was?
Of course, yeah. I still made sure, like, you know, she was wearing a safety belt and things. But
well, think of how many commitments you could get out of though if your mom actually died. Like, man, you'd have that as an excuse for years.
If I die, honestly, please, like, fake mourn and get out of. It's my gift to you. That's the inherent. That's what I've left everyone that cares about me. That's my will. Like, you can get out of work for 6 weeks if you want. Like, enjoy yourselves.
Meryl, what about you? Which family member have you accidentally or
man, I think I killed my grandma a few times in high school, and then she actually did die, and then that was pretty fucking sad. Gosh, I remember it wasn't even there. I've killed family members, of course, for different reasons, but there was one time in high school that I didn't kill anyone, but I made up a fake relative. Like, I made up a fake sister.
Oh yeah.
Just because I wanted to seem interesting and have some kind of sob story. So I came up with this story that my mom had my 2 brothers and then cheated on my dad to have, and had a sibling, a sister, and then got back with my dad and had me. And so I was like, yeah, we just have this sister that we like don't ever talk about. And I kept it up for like a year or 2 in middle school for some reason. And all my friends are always like, oh my God, like around my mom, they'd be like, you know, she did that thing. And it was such a shitty thing to do to my mom, who's like a perfect angel and would never cheat on my dad and would never, like, I don't know. It was just like, it was one of those things where, you know, when you just want to seem interesting and you're trying to figure out like, okay, like everyone else is cool. Like what kind of cool story can I have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
I get that totally. But I mean, when you're at school, you've not done anything. You've not done anything impressive yet. That's why I was always surprised when like people were like, yeah, I was a really popular kid at school. I'm always just like, how though? Like, what did you have? Who
did you kill? What secret family did you come from to make yourself cool at school at that age?
Yeah. I didn't do anything till I was like 16.
Right. I still remember the moment in high school where I told my friends that I had lost my virginity, and I felt like the coolest motherfucker in the entire building in that moment, because everyone was like freaking out and they were like jumping up and down. They're like, yeah, you did it. I guess because like all my friends were you know, a little more experienced than I was at the time, and so they were just like waiting for me to catch up to them. And so in that moment I was just like, why are we glorifying this? This feels weird, but I'm popular, so who cares? But I've never killed a family member. You guys are horrible.
Well, you know, sometimes it happens.
Just kidding. Have you ever fallen asleep during sex?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a very uncertain hand raise.
Yeah, because it wasn't sex. It was. I fell asleep towards the end, maybe, of a 69.
I hope you were on top.
I was not, and that's probably why.
Because you were lying down.
You're already lying down, and it's late. You just like,
And it probably got dark.
exactly, and you can't breathe, and it's got hot, and maybe I passed out, not fell asleep. I don't know. Maybe it was like oxygen I was deprived, but yeah, I think that absolutely happened for sure. Yeah, it did.
Oh my god. Oh, if that's not the title of this episode, I don't know what is.
Falling asleep while 69ing.
While 69ing. Oh my god. Yeah, I've definitely like been comfortable enough to potentially like close my eyes and drift off, but I feel like not like maybe in my experience with sex, things are always kind of like changing up frequently enough that it keeps you on your toes. But I've never been in a situation where it was such a monotonous kind of calming experience that I would have fallen asleep. But that's
I feel like it's more common for people who have a lot of drunk sex. I feel like a lot of stories I've heard from buddies and stuff was usually, you know, we started, obviously I was fucking drunk, and somewhere along the way there's just a so I don't know about sober falling asleep. That seems super rare. Just the motion alone seems like that's exactly what you do to stay awake, but
right.
I don't know.
Unless you're pretending you're on a boat, and it's just kind of like...
That's true.
Meryl, what's your story then? Were you drinking?
Oh yeah, no, mine was after a wedding. The girl that I was dating, she was a bridesmaid, and after the wedding, we snuck away to, you know, enjoy a bit of each other, and then we're just again, like Raoul said, just fucking wasted and couldn't keep my eyes open. But yeah.
Was she on you or were you on her?
I think I was on top.
She's a top baby.
So I inevitably fell asleep just kind of like this, you know, just hanging out. Oh man.
Okay. Have you ever
waking up from that?
Why are my fingers pruny?
It's like, God, my fingers fucking hurt. Oh, it's probably one of the worst things I've ever done on this show.
Saving the best.
And
for
it's
last.
funny because we had all the information before you did that.
Yeah, you already knew it.
Have you ever logged into someone else's email and looked through?
Nah. Email? Like you want to like check on their business?
Oh.
So
like...
this was I guess it's not 100% accurate with the card. I opened a computer that was still in someone else's email. And this was a person who I was dating at the time who I was convinced was cheating on me. And this person would often use email as a form of communication with people.
Who's it? Hillary Clinton?
How did you know? I had a really hot summer with Hillary Clinton one time. It was crazy. Yes, and I unfortunately found a few emails that were not nice to read from someone who you're in a relationship with. But yeah, I felt terrible about it because it's an invasion of privacy. And I think this is kind of like a common debate with people of like, if you end up looking through someone's phone or someone's email of someone who you think is cheating on you and you find something incriminating, who's in the wrong? Like, are you wrong for snooping and like essentially ruining that trust? Or is it not really that wrong because you felt suspicious? I don't know. It's
I've
very
never known
common
the
debate.
answer to that. I've always assumed it was not okay to look.
I think I think the reason why no one can answer it straight is because there's a balance, there's a happy medium. If you're a shady bastard, and like you are fully just because people give off vibes. Like it depends what you sometimes invite that mistrust. You've created that mistrust, so you are in essence responsible for that. Like you've left breadcrumbs, or people can they can sort of sense it. On the other flip side of that, some people just don't trust no matter what you do. So like that's why I think it's case to case. But at the same time, like with Barbara there, like yes, it was an invasion of privacy, but like you felt that you already had suspicions, and that's sort of like what the police do. You know, sometimes they do rifle through your garbage and they find the murder weapon. I know they probably shouldn't be looking through your garbage, but you know, you already created it. You know, you were already suspicious. So I don't know. I think it's case to case.
And like I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel like I was in the right for doing it, but it's always kind of a shitty situation when you do find something that kind of proves your suspicions, and you're like, well, damn, like now I have to say something about it. Obviously,
in hindsight, what do you do? Because now that we know that effectively you were being cheated on, so you shouldn't have looked and then just wait until he confesses, or you literally it's
right.
I don't know. It's a tough one.
A never-ending debate. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer to it, honestly. I think just don't be shitty and have trust in people that you're with.
I feel attacked.
Good advice.
We'll do a couple more. Have you...
Oh, God.
I can't wait.
Have you ever shown someone else your shit?
Oh, God, yes.
What is wrong with you people?
I got dysentery. I had to show everyone.
Like a stool sample.
I didn't even think about that. I did that recently because I got a colonoscopy a couple of years ago. And I had to do that. I wasn't even referring to that one.
Oh, no. I mean, I was fully, like, bleeding out of my asshole and sending pictures of it to my mom and girlfriend. Like, is this normal? Should I seek help?
And that was the only time?
Oh, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, I don't think that there's been plenty more times, but I'm sure there's been at least 2 more times. My mom is constantly, like, anytime I'm sick, she'll be like, well, how's your poop? Let me see.
How's your poop?
She's on top of the poo situation.
Oh, yeah.
What color is it? What's the density? Tell me everything. This was when I was, I think, probably like 19, 20 or something like that. I was dating someone for a very long time, and I felt very, very, very comfortable with them. And I think took the biggest shit of my life. And I was so impressed that it came out of my body that I was like, you need to see this.
That's fair.
And
we've all had shits where it's like, that is like twice the size of my arsehole. And it is impressive. I've just never shown anyone else.
My showing is not on purpose. It's just accident. And I think that's, I mean, like, I know I shit myself in Morocco in a water park.
Mm-hmm.
So my boys saw the diarrhea water when we were in the pool. So technically you saw that.
Do you have food poisoning?
Yeah, I proper, when I went to Morocco, and I'm still a little bit like this, I'm like, you know those kids on Jamie Oliver when he tries to change school dinners so they're not junk food and they puke when they eat broccoli? I'm the kid that eats, like, I want chicken nuggets 3 days, or 3 times a day, 6 days a week. I don't want to eat any foreign muck. So I'm super British like that. And when we went to Morocco, I wouldn't eat any of the food. Couscous can kiss my ass and all of this. And I found next to the house we were staying at, I was staying with my buddy's family, we found a place that just sells these things called pocadillos, which were baguettes with French fries and fried eggs in it.
Oh my God.
I ate that 3 times a day for a week, right? So at some point, I think it went to one extreme to the other. At one point, I had constipation, so I just wasn't shitting, and it was ruining everywhere we went. And then eventually, at some point, I just couldn't stop shitting, and I would just stay indoors. Yeah. And
then you thought, let's go to the water park.
I didn't. I said I'm not interested in any of this. I didn't want any part of this. But I couldn't stay back So we went to this place called Menard Park, and I was like, I'm going to shit myself. And I sat there defeated. I was like, I can't. I don't want to be a part of this. They convinced me at one point to get in the pool, and then I just felt hotter water than the water around me.
Oh.
And I was like, there you go, shit myself. Your
There
fault.
it is. I feel closer to you now, Raoul.
What was the follow-up event to that? Do you just sort of swim away from it, or do they sort of send people in? Like,
Well, they were sweet enough not to completely scream. It was like we all we're close. We have each other's backs, so we all just backed away, and then I kind of managed to. I just clenched, I guess. Not that I knew what else could happen. I just clenched, climbed out, and ran to one of the bathrooms.
I can't help but be reminded of, I forget, I think it was like some reality show, maybe Big Brother. There's this very famous video of these people sitting in a hot tub, and one of the girls, you just kind of see her like grabbing her stomach, and then like she kind of shakes, and the entire pool just starts filling up with this brown.
is that real though? Is that a real clip?
I've seen that same video. I know exactly what
I've
you're
seen
talking
the clip.
about.
Yeah, I
assumed
mean,
it was fake.
I assumed it was real, although like no doubt in my mind they could have faked that, but it looked pretty legit. Don't go searching for it. It's not really.
I've pissed on people before, for sure. That's happened. I know I've done that.
Like,
That's happened 3 times at least.
in the pool.
Well, I feel like if you're
No,
in a
in a bed.
Oh.
In a bed.
No, and not even. Wait, I should not as part of an act. I've just I the last time I did it, and I'm going to call him out. My best friend Aaron, me and him were drinking in Canada until we found an after hours spot, and we'd been drinking all night, from like 8 in the evening until 9 in the morning. And I remember not peeing at all, which I thought was really weird. I was like, I've been drinking for like 12 hours. I'm not pissing. What the fuck? And I wasn't drunk. And then when we got back to my apartment, I just like the evolution of man. It happened as soon as I walked through the door. The reverse of that with the drunk. That all of the alcohol hit me. Anyway, I've climbed into bed. He got into bed, and about an hour later, I woke up pissing on the both of us. And I didn't even get up because I couldn't. Like, what was I going to do? It was going to create more mess if I tried to scramble. So I finished.
Yeah, you got to ride it out.
It's like a water hose.
Yeah, he was covered, but he was so drunk that he didn't wake up. So I left him there, and I was still drunk and tired. So I put a towel down over where I was wet and just finished off the sleep.
Oh, so you left him in the wet part.
Yeah, Aaron. He's been
Shout out
pissed
to
off.
Aaron. I recently heard a story from our friend Chris Damaris that apparently one night he woke up and just started peeing on the floor, and the girl he was with was just like, "What are you doing? You're peeing." And he's like, "No, I'm not. What are you talking about?" And he just apparently woke up in the middle of the night and started peeing and didn't remember it until the next morning. And I don't know if there was alcohol involved.
What, like sleep peeing?
Sleep peeing. Yeah. So I would say that's a little worse than just being too drunk. All right, last one. Have you ever called someone the wrong name during sex? No, all no's. I don't really. I'm not a namesayer. Like, I don't.
Are you just like, yeah, man?
All right, dude. Yeah.
There are just some names you don't like. You might have a really nice name in life, but not in the bedroom.
Right. Like,
I
who
don't.
wants to say,
I don't
yeah,
want
Barbara?
my name said to me. It sounds, because my mum is the only one who says my name properly. Everyone has a version of it. If someone was like, yeah, Raoul, I'm like,
You're like, yeah, raw hole, baby. Let's go.
Make that hole raw.
Oh, God.
No.
So do you say your name different to how your mum says your name?
I did, for weird reasons. Like, there was a point where it just became Raoul, and then I ended up saying Raoul at one point, which is just not the pronunciation of my name. But then I ran with it because I had my own shame.
I feel like I've always said Raoul.
That comes up a lot, yeah, Raoul.
Yeah.
What's the
just
proper one?
Raoul.
Rahul.
Yeah, it's Ra as in car, and then Hul. As in
As in who?
Interesting.
as in who? Yeah, I didn't know where I was going with that. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not a namesayer either.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gavin.
I never have been.
Harder, Gavin. And you can't
Yeah, it's-
abbreviate you. I don't want to.
Gav.
If we were making out, I wouldn't be like, yes, Gav, touch me down there.
Why not?
Yeah, there's definitely some names that do not work with it. I'm trying to think of like everyone who I've slept with, what the worst one is.
I can't imagine saying Barbara.
Babs.
No, it's again, that's a name that doesn't work. Like, no one's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Barbara."
Barbara.
No, thank you. It's just not. It doesn't flow off the tongue very much.
It'd be
especially
easier
not
to find a name that does work in the bedroom.
Bob.
Bob.
I feel like a lot of one-syllable names
Yeah.
can just fly out.
Yeah,
you can
because like
sort
people
of,
do the whole like, "Oh God," yeah, like they say God a lot.
Yeah. Oh, Steve.
Steve.
It's my brother's name.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I feel
too
like
many
a-
syllables doesn't. Mohammed.
Doesn't work.
It's too many. Yeah, doesn't work.
Yeah, I like even like Steph versus Stephanie kind of situation. Like it's easier to be like Steph versus Stephanie.
I remember always enjoying the fact that my name had 2 syllables, specifically because it fits nicely into the Happy Birthday song, and you don't have to like double syllable it or like chuck a bunch of stuff
You don't have
in.
to do like "Happy birthday, dear Bob."
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was fun. Thanks for sharing, guys. I expect pictures of all of your poop after this episode is done, please and thank you.
Absolutely.
Done.
Please don't tweet us photos of your poop. That might get you banned from Twitter. So hold on. Let's move on to our box of issues question. This one comes from someone who submitted it anonymously. And for those of you watching who don't know, and Raoul, you're new to the show, we have people submit questions to the box of issues of things that they're going through and just want some advice. And as a reminder, none of us are experts on anything. So take our advice with a grain of salt, but still enjoy. All right, so Anonymous writes, "Hi, longtime fan. I am a 22-year-old male who is kinda in a slump in the dating world. As of writing this, I have been turned down 18 times in a row. Not a huge deal, but it does lower my confidence quite a bit. I wanted to ask if any of you have experienced anything like this, and if so, any advice on how I could build that confidence back up. It's hard thinking I'm attractive and staying positive when each girl I talk to turns me down or stops talking within the week. Much appreciated, and thank you for the quality content the show has made for years." Thank you, Anonymous.
Not in a shitty way, but one thing you could do is stop counting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
18 is a very specific number. You should get that. Stop doing that. That can't
Yeah,
be
better
good
for
for your psyche.
self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly. Stop counting. Mm-mm.
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 Absolutely. Because that only, like, when it does happen, you're just like, all right, 19, and it gets in your head because you're thinking about every other 17 times someone has turned you down before that.
Yeah, they
I
are
feel like
not.
that's
They are
good
not
advice.
related.
Right.
I feel like it's good advice to stop counting, and I would also not worry about it too much. You'll get older and funnier and more experienced, and just that kind of thing. I feel like does get easy. I feel like the only advice I usually give is don't come across too strong or be pushy, and yeah, don't be like forceful with it. Sorry, Carol.
One of the reasons why I saw this question and I wanted to pick it particularly for this episode is because, Gavin, I know that you've talked about in the past, before you were in a committed relationship, your fear of rejection.
Yeah. I pretty much would just like just wait a really long time until I had a nice enough vibe with someone where I could definitely know I wouldn't get rejected, sort of thing. I would never put myself out there just with someone I'd not known very long because I was absolutely terrified of rejection.
Yeah, and I will commend this anonymous person for even putting themselves out there so much, and I think that's really commendable because there's a lot of people, even Gavin, who wouldn't do that very often because of the fear of rejection. So,
It's scary.
yeah,
It's so
Yeah, absolutely.
scary.
Yeah. I was the last person in my social group to lose their virginity. I didn't actually date anyone until I was 23. My rejections up until I was in my early 20s was just constant. I suffered with confidence issues. I had my first kiss at like 18, 19. And I could have counted. I mean, my cold streak was probably 40 or something like that. Like it was just, and it became an issue, and it really affected me. And then, honestly, it took a buddy of mine to take me out, and we started to go out more often, and just to start having conversation instead of trying to like, it's weird. For me, things changed when I started to just forget about the pickup side of it and the hookup, and learnt to just have a fun conversation with someone. And not be. It's not about being brave enough to ask someone out, but be brave enough to be funny, and just let your true self show and be charming. And I used to also do this thing where, whenever I liked someone, liking them made you feel so vulnerable and insecure that you would stop being yourself and start projecting a version of what you think that person wants. So and I was definitely doing that. So the guy that was actually doing the asking out, or the guy that fancied the girl at drama school or this thing, wasn't me. It was this Anakin Skywalker incel, harass, like, I'll never stop until I find you and all of this crap. That's not me. And I wasn't like that with my friends, and the type of humor I had wasn't translating to people I liked. And when I was able to stop that, when I was able to forget about the end goal and just start being myself, and it sounds so cheesy, but when I was able to just cut through the bullshit, and then the guy that my buddies got was the guy that the girl at the bar got, that's where it changed for me, and that's where I was able to find my confidence, and that's where I started making real connections with people.
Yeah, wow.
That's a great shout.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. We talk about it on the show a lot too, because we get a lot of questions about, people dealing with rejection, or not having people reciprocate their interest. And I think when you go into a situation with a certain intention, it might alter, again, like who you're portraying yourself as, and the kind of person that you're displaying to that person that you're trying to hit on or date or whatever it is. And I feel like, especially the person who wrote in, clearly you're very focused in on finding someone to date, and counting every time you've been turned down and focusing on the negative in that situation is not going to be healthy for you. And it's also going to feel like every interaction you have with someone you're interested in is going to be riddled with that crippling anxiety over, will they reject me? Will they not? How can I really be myself? And if you just let go a little bit and don't go into certain situations with the intention of this potentially being a relationship, of just, like Raoul said, I just want to be myself and like meet people and just kind of let go a little bit, and the right person will eventually come along. There's a great quote that I won't remember exactly, but it's essentially, if it passes by you, it's not for you. And if someone does not show interest or rejects you for whatever reason, don't put that on yourself. Just say, this person wasn't right for me. This person clearly isn't interested. That's not my fault. That's because there's something that they're looking for that I don't necessarily have or can provide. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many, when we don't put those kind of pressures on anything else. Like when you walk into a club, how many people do you talk to? Really? Like, how many people did you become friends with? How many people look like the type of people you want to fucking chill with?
Yeah.
But you don't then, you know what I mean? When you walk out, you don't go, oh, no one wanted to be my friend out of those 200 people. Like, you don't put those kind of pressures on yourself because you understand that, like, that's not for me. Those people aren't my people. I don't know that, but when it comes to the dating world, it becomes so raw and personal, and everyone is against you. And I did that, man. And it's not to say that there's something wrong with you. It's just you're being a bit unkind to yourself, man. Like, you're putting way too much pressure on yourself to, like, forget the end goal. That's what's crippling you. Not everyone is the one, and it's not, you know what I mean? Sorry, Gavin.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, I'm always just blown away by people who have the courage to just, like, oh, I'm sick of where I am right now. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go somewhere else. And they just go somewhere without any connections yet. Like, it's not for a job. It's not for anyone else. They just go there as an adult and then have to make friends. I don't know how that's done. Like, how do you be like, well, I'm not going to meet anyone at work or, you know, anywhere. I guess I'll just go out and try and meet whoever. How does that work? That's insane to me that people can do that.
That is having a lot of courage. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I'm commending this person so much for putting themselves out there, because that's not easy. That's not easy to do. Meryl, what do you think?
I literally just breathed into it. Well, and then like piece of spit got stuck in my throat. Oh man, I mean, this guy's, what is it? He said he's 22. I'm reading
22.
Excuse me, email over again. But gosh, you were so young. You know, even now, I mean, I'm 28 years old, and I still realize how, like, young I am. And it's just, I mean, you can get really lost in this kind of stuff. But I think Rose said it best. Like, you just need to be kind to yourself, because you've got nothing but time. And I think when you go into something like expecting things to turn out a certain way and they don't, it's super, super disheartening. And like, you're young, you don't need to get married tomorrow. Like, you don't need to, you know, kind of fulfill this like societal pressure of like, okay, I need to have a girlfriend, or I need to do these things. Like, there's so much more you can experience in life. And like, when you meet someone who you actually want to be with and they want to be with you, then it'll work itself out. But like, I think putting so much pressure on this is just, I mean, it's just insane. And there's like, yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say also too, like, we don't know contextually how he is approaching people and like what kind of personality you're showing to them, or intentions rather, in terms of like, are you coming on really strong in terms of, hey, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, or I'm looking for a girlfriend, and that could scare off people very quickly, especially if you're just getting to know people, or if they don't know too much about you. It could come off very strong, and that could be really off-putting. So I think also being aware of the pressure you're putting on the people that you are talking to, and not letting a relationship potentially develop, and seeing if it's right off the bat.
Yeah, there's it's everything you want to tell someone to do in those situations. It feels kind of like, when you, like you said, we don't really have context to like what type of person they're being and what kind of vibe they're putting out, and are they going into this situation expecting something like, you know, long term. Also, where are you doing? Where is this 18 rejections happening? You're 23 years old, so you're not at school, you're not at college, I assume. So are you talking about bars and clubs? Are you talking about, have you asked 18 different people out in your office? Like, again, it's one of those things, like, I know that a lot of people, and that's the other thing, when I had issues, everyone wanted to give me advice. Everyone was like, no, dude, what you want to do is, like, you want to act like you don't care about them, and then you get someone else who'd be like, you know, just get the number and stuff, just get with the physical things, and then, like, usually, like, they can sense that, you know, they want to keep you around, so that's why they want to keep you in a relationship. You just heard all sorts of bullshit. And it wasn't until, again, it was one of those things, it's just all about truth, because it wasn't until I started to meet people in places I wanted to be, like, that's where I was developing relationships and friendships with like-minded people. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
If you love, I don't fucking know, if you
can't
love
see me,
movies,
but I'm nodding.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, like if you love movies and stuff like that, like, and it's your passion and it's your life. I promise you, meeting someone else who shares that same passion is going to create such a strong bond.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a meaningful relationship, start with the friendship, man. Start with similar interests. Start with something that you share. It really. It's just far more solid and it's just far more real and meaningful.
And then you fuck.
And then you fuck. If you just want to fuck, there are a
You
lot
just
of
wanna
ways
get your
you can
dick
just
wet.
fuck. Like there, you know what I mean? There's a lot of options out there depending on what state you're in and what the laws are. Like, you know, yeah.
And of course, consent from both sides, of course.
Which goes without saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Just go without saying it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your question, Anonymous. Good luck to you. And again, as we said, stop counting.
Yeah.
Big takeaway. Stop focusing on the negative. All right, well, let's wrap it up with a question that I have for all you guys. This being the last episode of, I think, season 10. We're in season 10.
Oh, it's the
Wow.
season finale.
Gosh, season 10, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Friends.
It is. I would love to know, what is something on your bucket list? It's an interesting group to ask you because you guys have experienced a lot in life. A lot of stuff that I think many people don't get to experience. So I'm very curious to see what you guys still have on there. That old bucket list.
I mean, mine's an easy one. My bucket list thing was to be in Star Wars. That was, so when I saw Star Wars as a kid, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in Star Wars. So I became an actor to be in Star Wars. But then by the time I finished drama school, there was no more Star Wars. So the timings didn't work out very well. I didn't plan ahead of my, and so ultimately everything I've ever done, everything I've created, has always been to do. Yeah. I picked that up too.
Oh, you guys are?
Yeah, I for sure have three of those discs. I are on a coffee table, with my tea on it. But I love the 4K box set. But yeah, so that's my ultimate bucket. I mean, there are things obviously it's like go to Japan and but the ultimate one, the one I have to do before I die is that. So
Yeah.
easy.
Easy, yeah.
Easy.
No problem. What about you, Kev?
I would love to work on a James Bond film.
Mm.
Do a bit of
Good
slow mo on a Bond would be absolute top of the list there, and to have a baby.
Oh,
yeah.
Gavin! I'm gonna start crying again.
So you won't be a daddy?
Yeah, at
Oh,
some point.
Papa.
I just don't know when that would be.
Yeah, it's all about timing with that kind of thing, and I think a lot of people tend to have kids or jump into that thing without fully being 100% ready. And I feel like that is something that you will do responsibly, and I have the utmost faith that you will be a great father. And that kid will be a little menace. Be wonderful. For me, it's all travel. I feel like I've accomplished a lot more in my life than I thought I would ever get to, even to a small extent. Like getting to direct something. I've gotten to direct some RT shorts here at Rooster Teeth, and I've gotten to write. I think writing a book would be a pretty cool experience. The question is, I don't know what the hell I would write about. So that would be step one.
Bucket list.
But yeah, I'll write a book.
There you go.
I think ultimately, though, for me, I just want to experience more of the world before I go. Japan is definitely up there. I've never been to Japan. Never been to France. I've never been to Greece. There's tons of places, especially in Europe, that I still want to visit and experience to the full extent. So to me, it's just seeing the world and seeing different cultures and meeting different people and taking in as much as I can before I can't anymore.
Just off the back of that, I'm I'm super proud of myself and Gavin for when you said France was on your bucket list, that neither of us two made a face or said anything negative about the French.
Yeah, nobody booed.
Like, we didn't do anything. I was like, is Gavin going to do it or am I? Is someone going to go, oh. It's just in like the British thing to do that.
I'm genuinely surprised that you haven't been to Paris.
Yeah, that is one place that I wanted to go my entire life that I still have never gotten the opportunity to.
I mean,
And,
bitch, I've been to Paris. It ain't that hard.
I mean, I've been to a lot. I've been to a lot of places that I think
traveled
a lot of people never get to go to. I went to Israel when I was, I think, 20 years old, and that was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had in my life. And I know a lot of people get the opportunity to travel to Israel, so for that I'm really grateful for. But yeah, there are places that are like, oh, how have you not been to Paris out of all places? Of course, like especially with us where we travel a lot and we go to a lot of different countries for events and conventions and things of that nature. Trevor is screaming something about buttholes in the room.
Okay, I was like, who is that? On my end, it almost sounded like a little girl.
I've
like,
honestly
someone
found
has.
that a lot of my favorite trips have been to places that weren't necessarily on my bucket list. Like stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, places where I was like, I don't think I ever would have gone there, but damn, it was amazing. And maybe that's a part of it is because you didn't expect it.
Austin?
I mean, why am I in Austin? How did I get here? I never grew up thinking, oh, I've got to get to Texas.
I'm with you. I never expected I'd ever bother to go to like Texas, Austin. It was like, because you unfortunately you just bunch it. It's the big New York, LA. Like you just grab at the sort of easy stuff, and then we went did South by Southwest, and then that became one of my favorite little trips when we were in Austin. And like,
yeah.
I'm
also,
with you. The ones you
one
don't,
of my most memorable trips was Pushkar, India, which I don't know. I never would have been there if it wasn't for that documentary we made. But it was just such an amazing experience, and I feel like a lot of life's bucket list stuff you don't know it's on the list until you're crossing it off.
It's very, so wise.
Ooh, Mufasa.
So wise. What about you, Miss Merle?
Oh man,
What's in that bucket?
Traveling, of course. Just I think Gavin said being a dad, and I think with everything that's kind of going on in the world right now and how crazy it is, I think about like I want to have kids, but then I also think about like, is it fair to bring a child into the world that we're living in right now? Like, is the situation going to get better? Is it going to get worse? Like, I was talking to my girlfriend last night and I was like, where do we go? Like, where should we move to New Zealand? Because that seems to be the only fucking place right now that like somewhat has their shit together.
I'm like, I want to retire in New Zealand at this point. It seems like a different planet over there.
Yeah.
But the grass is always greener. I mean, they had, not to
True.
bum it down, but they had the shootings in Christchurch happen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
But then like immediately banned assault rifles, right?
They did. Absolutely they did. I think like what you were saying about is it fair to bring a child into the world when things I don't think it's fair to deprive yourself of something you want. Because there'll never be a right time. Like in the 80s when I was born, that it was during the Thatcher years and like my parents who were working class bringing in another brown face into the world could have argued that too, but they didn't, and I'm sure they don't regret it. And so I don't think you should ever deprive yourself of something that's going to give you joy. I hope that I meant that in a positive way. Like,
oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, how dare you.
No, and I think after, having that conversation with her and just kind of being like, feeling a little helpless, she said, she was like, we have the opportunity, like when we do decide to have kids, to raise really good people and to make sure that we are doing our best to raise people who are smart and empathetic and who care about the world and who care about injustice and who are like actively speaking out on it. She's like, we have like, if we want to have children, we have the opportunity to do that and like mold good people into this world so that hopefully not only do we help in making the world a better place, but like we set it up for them to be better, for them to continue doing that work. So that is one of the things on my bucket list to hopefully one day have kids and look at them and be like, holy shit, this is a really cool person who is like actively doing things right now to make the world a better place.
I cannot even begin to imagine how much you are going to cry when you have
Oh God.
a child.
Oh God.
You're gonna be a mess. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so great.
Oh man. I don't even want to begin to think about it.
Getting emotional now.
I feel like now I've wasted my answer. I threw it away with fucking Star Wars, and then Muriel's talking about creating better human beings for society. You guys talking about travel, which brought in the mind. So I was like, yeah, I want to be Watto.
Rebellions are built on hope. What taught us that?
Fuck it,
Star
yeah.
Wars.
I'm a kid. I'll fuck it. Kid.
I'll do a kid.
I'll do a kid.
Solve world hunger.
There you go.
And world peace for everybody.
This generation and the next has a lot of work to do in terms of
they
making
got a
the
lot
world a
of
better
cleanup.
place.
Yeah.
A lot of cleanup to do.
God.
Well, thank you guys for your answers on that. That was wonderful. And before we wrap up the show, since we are in quarantine, we like to do a thing now and always open where we all go around and recommend something to the audience that you are watching or reading or listening to, whether it's a podcast or a movie, show, whatever you are enjoying these days, and recommend it to the audience. So, Raoul, do you have anything that you'd like to recommend?
There's so many wonderful things I watched. The obvious one was The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. Just fired me up. Super inspirational. Made me hold a mirror up to myself and look at how lazy I've been with my own career and check my work ethic. And right now, obviously, like, it's hard to find motivation being locked up. What would Michael do is kind of it. That kept sort of coming up during the documentary, and so The Last Dance is what I would recommend. And I was also just playing FIFA.
It's so on brand. What about you, Meryl? What would you recommend to the peeps?
I'm going to recommend a person. And her name is Rachel Cargill. It's Cargle. She's basically this badass academic writer, lecturer, an activist who's being very vocal right now and just telling people a lot of ways that they can help with kind of the current state of the world, with police brutality and all of these things. She's extremely well spoken and really, really smart and has a lot of kind of uncomfortable subjects to talk about, but I think progress is uncomfortable. And anyway, so she's on Instagram. She has a really good talk on like feminism. I think it's a TED Talk. I can't exactly remember, but her name is Rachel Cargill. You can find her on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. And she's saying some really good shit right now. So go check it out.
Very cool. I'm going to recommend. This is going to be a little different this week. I'm going to recommend a TikTok user. Someone I've been following. Her name is Caitlin Hello. Her name is Caitlin Riley. She has been posting these amazing one-person like character sketches on TikTok. She does a lot of like like Southern Mom, or she does like I guess it would be called like a WASP mom. And it's so funny, and it just, amidst all the craziness of the world, it's just nice to see someone just making you laugh and being so on point with their character sketches. So definitely recommend her. If you do have TikTok, go check her out. She's very funny, and I aspire to be more like her in my comedy. So go check her out. What about you, Gavin?
Bad Boys 1 and 2. The 4K box set. Absolute mayhem.
Did you just have that on hand?
Yeah, I'm sort of trying to sort out all my physical media at the moment, so it's all just strewn out. And I thought, what would be a funny one to pick up?
I've never seen Bad Boys 1 or 2. I know. I get the set. Never seen Bad Boys.
If you ever watch Bad Boys 2, I'd love to be there with you doing so.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You guys should have a virtual date night.
Oh,
You watch it. I just saw Bad Boys for Life in theaters before all this started happening.
That was the last film you saw in the cinema before
Was
quarantine.
it? No, that couldn't have been it. It might have been.
I think mine might have been Sonic.
Oh.
I
Or
think
the
I've got you
Invisible
beat.
One.
Mine was Cats, I'm pretty sure.
I still want to see
Aw.
Sonic. I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's available now on streaming services.
Yeah, it
right?
went straight. It went straight there.
Yeah.
I also saw The Invisible Man just before quarantine.
How was that?
It was good. My my co-star on The Haunting of Bly Manor plays the Invisible Man on the movie, so I wanted to see it to support Oliver. But yeah, it was good fun, really good fun. That also just went because it was, I think, hit by the lockdown straight to streaming almost immediately. But yeah, pretty good.
Your show's not out yet, is it on Netflix?
The Haunting? No, not yet. No, just just there's only season 1 right now.
Wonderful. Well, great recommendations, everyone. I'm gonna check all of those things out tonight. I've been meaning to watch that Michael Jordan documentary for the last couple weeks. I've heard nothing but good things, so I'll watch that first, and then maybe Bad Boys 1 and 2 afterwards.
Also, play Gears 5. It's a very good game as well.
Gears 5.
It's all right, yeah.
I honestly, I loved it. I DM'd you as soon as I finished. I was like, I bloody just love your character. I don't know if it's because it's just interesting to have a Brit in the mix of all that. It was just class. I loved it.
I really, that means a lot to me because I don't feel that way. Like,
Aw.
with all due respect to, like, I think I know that they're super proud of the character and stuff, but I'm very insecure about it. Like, to me, you've got like Laura Bailey and everyone doing these amazing performances, and then this dickhead's going, "All right, yeah, fucking," and it just in my ears, I'm like, oh, "What have I done?" I feel terrible.
No, it was great, and I forgot that you'd when you were in Achievement Hunter making videos with us, you told us. And I'd completely forgotten. So when it came out, I'd forgotten.
Did I break my NDA?
We can cut this bit if you want. Yeah, you did. You told us. And I played it. I was like, oh yeah. Oh
Well,
shit.
you didn't say when you told them
No. I
that.
think it had been announced. I think it
Okay.
had been. I think by the time I went on Achievement Hunt, yeah,
Okay.
it hadn't been announced actually. No, but that's fine. I can tell friends. You
Yeah,
didn't
okay.
tell anyone,
Okay.
so I was right.
Yeah.
I didn't tell no one, and I forgot. So.
We're never the best. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. And everyone watching, thank you so much for 10 incredible, unforgettable seasons of Always Open. We could not have made the show without you and your support. And all the love you've given us has truly been life-changing. And yeah, we'll have more information coming soon. But just know we love you and thank you so much for 10 seasons. And we'll be doing a post show with these guys too, so we're not completely done. And we'll see you when we see you. We love you. Thank you all so much for tuning in to that episode of Always Open. Give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below on what you thought of the episode. And don't forget to watch these other videos and enjoy. Thank you.